Hello and welcome to this instalment of Talkin Trim. I'm Jonathon Skinner and today we're looking at a cockpit carpet set for a Triumph TR3A as well as the accompanying boot trunk set for the same car. Now the cockpit cabin carpet is applicable to the late TR3As, so that's with chassis number above 60,000 and obviously all of the TR3Bs. It's basically applicable to the cars that had the flat rear shelf behind the seats. The early cars, the TR2s, the TR3s and the early 3As had a sloped rear shelf section, whereas the late ones it was flat. If I look down in this book here, you can see these cars here, these are the sloped versions here where it's slanted down like that, whereas this one here, it's actually got an occasional rear seat on it, but that is the later version there where it's effectively flat in that same area. So that's what I'm referring to there. And effectively that changes a handful of pieces in the carpet set. With regard to the boot trunk area, that's actually applicable to all the TR2s, all the TR3s and all the 3As/3Bs. But the actual cockpit cabin is only for the late 3As and the 3Bs. This specific kit has been done in dark blue wool, so it's our premium automotive carpet and lovely stuff, very densely packed pile. And then we edge it in Leathercloth as per original spec. We do not use vinyl for edging our carpets. Other companies do, we do not. Please do see information on our website and our YouTube channel about why we do it with Leathercloth specifically. It's one of those little touches that goes a long way, and one of the many reasons that we are the benchmark in the industry for making these sort of quality parts. It's these little touches. Anyway, dark blue wool. When it comes to carpet, we do offer another shade of blue. So this is dark blue, obviously. This is what we call pale shadow blue, so it's effectively a light blue carpet. Again, this is the wool. Very, very densely packed pile. You can see when you bend it in half, you don't see much backing coming through. It's got a rubber backing on it, but you don't see much of it coming through when you bend it in half, which is the sign of a premium carpet. We can also offer nylon for those working to a budget, but we do really strongly recommend that you use wool for at least the cockpit cabin area. It's superior in finish, durability, quality, everything. Of course, we always do strongly recommend that people get samples of us and see it yourself. But obviously we can offer for those working to a much tighter budget, so that's not a problem at all. With regard to edging the carpets, obviously we use Leathercloth. Not all the carpets are edged, as you can see. Some are, so front and rear floor carpets, for example, are edged all the way around. But then say the sides of the gearboxes and the front edge of the rear shelf, back edge of the rear shelf, and some of these other areas here aren't edged. The concept being that basically when everything's in the car, you'll have no raw edge on show. It will either be tucked underneath an adjacent carpet which is edged, for example, the gearbox sides and the front floors, etc. Or it will be tucked underneath a panel at the side of the car. For a good example, actually, is that rear shelf there. That back edge, which hasn't got any binding on it, is obviously tucked underneath the rear bulkhead panel. So that's the general concept with edging of carpets. And because of that, we have thus altered our patterns and tweaked with them over many years of working with very high-end restoration companies in this industry. We've made these carpets effectively better fits than the original ones by allowing extra sort of depth and width to the carpets to allow raw edges to tuck underneath. So, for example, the gearbox there, you get a good bit that tucks underneath the front floor carpets. That helps with the fitment within the car anyway, so that you have no sort of bodywork or felt showing from underneath it. But it allows for the actual carpet itself to be weighed down better, because you're tucking more underneath the front floor carpets, and therefore it's keeping the shape of the adjacent carpet better. And it's all part of the fitting process, which again I plan on doing lots of guides for, but in the meantime do contact me directly. We've been doing this a long time. I know the tricks of the trade, shall we say. So that's the concept on edging. Now let's dive into it. So let's start at the front. Now you'll have to bear with me. I had an accident recently, so I fractured my ankle and I'm in a boot support, which is making walking quite tough. I don't want to step on any of the carpet, so do bear with me while I do this. But at the very front of the car, you've got obviously the archway on the firewall to the engine bay. So that's pretty obvious. Goes to the top of the gearbox tunnel. It is, as you can see, not symmetrical. It is slightly misshaped, and that is intentional to follow the shape of the gearbox tunnel there. Edged on the inside edge there. Then left and right A-post kick panels. So they're effectively the bits that sit in front of the door panel. In fact, that shape there is effectively the door panel shape there. So it's, if you're sat in the car, if you wiggled your left boot on the outside of the car, then that's what that would be touching up against there. And that goes directly onto the bodywork of the car. It's not like the later TR4 up to TR6 models that had a hardboard or millboard panel underneath it. That went directly onto the body of the car. Obviously, it's heel padded. This is a left-hand drive carpet set, so it's been heel padded there on the inside of the gearbox tunnel and on the left-hand front floor. If it was a right-hand drive set, everything would be opposite. So that one there would be on that one, that would be on that side, and then this one here would obviously be on that side, but a mirror image. So that's the only difference between left-hand drive and right-hand drive, is literally where the heel pads go, so bear that in mind. So you get a pair of the kick panel A-posts in the footwell, effectively. You've got the toe boards here, which obviously sit on the vertical firewall, effectively next to this archway piece here. So you get a pair of those. Again, they are not mirror images of one another. They are shaped to fit the characteristics of those cars as per original specification. Then the main section there is obviously the gearbox transmission tunnel. Big carpet piece, that one. Only a couple of bits of edging and sewing on it. So this sort of cutaway here is edged. And then you also have where the gear stick comes out in the middle here, which is edged and also sewn. Now, traditionally, the gearbox tunnels on the 3As didn't fit particularly well. They were quite sort of bulbous and big, and that's unfortunately just the design that it is. We have tweaked ours. It keeps basically the same principle of it, but it fits slightly better. We're not going to say it's a perfect fit. Unfortunately, the original design is quite flawed. So if you want to keep that concept of originality, you have to go with that option. But we've made ours different in very subtle areas that helps with the fitment in that area. And part of that is what I said about the width of it, so you can tuck underneath and get a better finish. But then after that, the key to fitting those and getting a really good fit on it is how you treat the underneath of the carpet. How much sort of padding and felt you put underneath can really dictate how well that looks. We've seen some great examples, we've seen some poor examples, so bear that in mind, and we're more than happy to give help and guidance on that. Then you have obviously the prop shaft tunnel just behind the main gearbox. And then you have the rear shelf. Obviously the rear shelf incorporates the lower bulkhead up onto the rear shelf there, so it's the sort of kickboard at the back up onto the rear shelf. The majority of the cars were exposed carpet at the back. Some cars did leave with the occasional rear seat, which I referenced before, just there. So bear that in mind. But even if you had the occasional rear seat, you would still have that carpet underneath it. Then, effectively, you've got the main floor areas, which are the front floor carpets. You get a pair. Obviously, the left hand has the heel pad on it. The right hand there has a cutaway. That is for the handbrake. Whereas I believe that one there is actually for the, there's a cable that comes out of the gearbox. A lot of people assume that they're both for the handbrake, but they're not. One's for the handbrake, the other one's the cable that comes out of the gearbox, the speedometer cable, I think it might be. So that's the front floor carpets. Obviously for right-hand drive, you'd have heel pads there. If you do want us to make the carpet set universal, i.e. if you want heel pads on both sides, just let us know. As standard, we're going to go by whatever your car is. So if your car's a left-hand drive, we'll do left-hand drive spec, and vice versa for right-hand drive. But if you do want a universal one and you want heel pads on both sides, not a problem, just let us know. Then you have the rear floor carpets. Obviously they sit down underneath the actual seats effectively. They are handed, they've got a slight curvature to them. And yeah, that's your set, effectively for the main carpet set. Now moving on to the boot trunk area. Boot trunk, like I say, this is applicable to all of the TR2s, the TR3s, the TR3As and the TR3Bs. And it comprises of a few kits that we sell separately. You've effectively got the boot mat, which is this piece here. You've got the boot liner board, or the petrol tank board, as some people refer to it. There's two of them there. There's an untrimmed one and a trimmed one. You obviously only get one per car. And then you have the boot side areas, which are these two and these two. So in terms of buying as a kit, there are effectively three kits here. You've got the boot sides, which consists of 4 pieces. You've got the boot liner board, which is 1 piece, and the boot mat, which is 1 piece as well. So that's 3 kits in total. Yeah, so that's those. Let's start with the boot mat. Now, originally, the boot trunk area was always in black in the cars. This has been done in dark blue to match the main trim, and I think it looks really nice when you do match the main trim. It's can become a bit of a focal point because not many people put much time and effort into the boot trunk area. So if you do it, it really does stand out. So this chap's done everything all the same. Dark blue wool, which looks really nice. So you've got the boot mats, which is, as it says, it's a boot mat. Sits in the car like this. This is effectively sat at the stood at the back of the car, opening up the lid. All edges are bound apart from that back edge because that is hidden underneath the boot liner board. It's worth noting as well that there's a little T-slit that happens during the fitment process for the latch release, I believe, on there. Now, we make an accommodation for that by basically, you can see where it's double stitched there. That's called back tacking. Back tacking effectively means that if you went and cut that now to get your little T-slit in, then it won't unthread anywhere else. So just bear that in mind. We do make an allowance for that. You can see it on the back as well. There. So that allowance is there. It's just not particularly obvious. So that's the boot mat. Like I say, normally in black. They did switch materials that they use. A lot of times they use a carpet material, but sometimes they used Hardura, which is a felt back plastic material, which we can offer as well. Otherwise, it's nylon or wool, as per this one here. Then the boot liner board. Now, originally the boot liner board was a grained millboard material, as per this black one here. Now, we sell these by the boatload. So it's this grained millboard, all CNC cut out and then creased along the bottom, which allows for the bend in the car. It's got this cutaway here, which is for the wiring loom to come into the boot trunk area. And yeah, obviously standardly, they are just done in black grain board. However, if you want to upgrade that, we can offer a few versions. We can offer this trimmed in a vinyl, if you want to do it in vinyl, or we can trim it in carpet, either wool or nylon. This one's obviously done in wool to match the main kits, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous when it's all done in wool. When you completely kit out the boot trunk area of your car in the carpet, I think it looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, obviously this is trimmed all the way around, so that's an option there. Then you have the boot trunk sides, which are 2 and 2, obviously left and right, sold as a set of 4 effectively. Now, originally, the boot trunk sides were completely exposed bodywork on these cars, as per this here, as you can see. And these kits have been designed by my father to cover up that bodywork, so it's pretty obvious the shape. That's obviously that pointy bit there, and then this is the formed wheel arch section there. And it goes, again, all part and parcel of making the car and the boot trunk area look really premium, is that element there. So completely up to you, your car, your restoration, but these are the options that we can offer, and they can look really nice even if you just go for the OEM basic spec, but especially if you upgrade it to the sort of more premium materials and carpeting out the boot trunk area, it can really set a statement, as I said. So please do check out our website for our photo galleries, which really do show how nice our products look in the car and also how well they fit. There's a reason we've been doing this for almost 50 years now and have the name that we have globally for our kits, and it's because our knowledge of these cars, but also the quality of our patterns, our production and our fitment and overall knowledge of these things is superior to anyone else out there. So just be sure to check out the website. Last thing to say is other things to consider while buying your carpet set would be obviously the felt. We offer a natural jute felt, it's about 6mm. Black side faces up towards the sky when you're fitting it, but they're all pre-cut to effectively the same shape and sizes. You don't always get a like-for-like felts to carpets. It's normally around 80% of the felt kit is the same as the carpet set. You don't necessarily get all of the pieces exactly the same, but I can give you more details on that if you need. But yeah, it's a natural jute felt, so very much akin to what they used originally during that era. Now, it's worth noting with modern day kits, obviously you can get some modern day underfelt and soundproofing kits such as Dynamat or Dodo Matting, lots of brands out there. And a lot of people ask me, you know, do I need the natural jute felt as well? And it's a yes or a no. It depends on the thickness of the modern day stuff. Now, I'm never going to even try and claim that our natural jute felt is going to offer you the same sound and heat properties as the as the modern day versions of these heat barriers. They're nowhere near it in terms of the technology behind it, but you've got to imagine the thickness underneath the carpets. Basically, all of our carpets have been templated using originals that had a certain thickness underneath the carpets. So a lot of these modern day sound barriers and heat barriers, they are very, very thin. And therefore, you should consider having something like this on top of it, purely for the fitment of the carpets, but also it gives a nice soft underfeel foot as well. So just bear that in mind. That being said, you can get thicker modern day equivalents, and if you have got thicker modern day equivalents, then you don't necessarily need our felt kit. I'm not going to sell you something just for the sake of it. So bear that in mind. We tend to recommend anywhere between 5 and 10 millimeters underneath the carpets to get the best fit. So just bear that in mind. And then the last element is the fixings. The original fixings, they're 4-part fixings. So you had the spiky bits, prongs effectively. They get pierced through the carpet onto the back of there and bent round. And then this is effectively pot riveted to the bodywork of your car. And then when everything's said and done, that pops into that and keeps it all in place. So we do a carpet fixing kit as well. Both the carpet fixing kits and the felts are sold completely separately to the carpet sets. I think I've covered everything. Try to keep that as neat and concise as possible. If I have missed anything or you've got additional questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe and share with other classic car enthusiasts, and I'll see you next time.